welcome back to another episode of The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, the show where I, the curator, discuss my personal favorite show of all time, personal favorite franchise of all time, Doctor Who. Friends, companions, we are at a very special time. We are at several days before the 60th anniversary special, which of course is going to come with three very special episodes featuring our favorite, mine at least, Dr. David Tennant back as another doctor for sort of a, I wouldn't say final hurrah, but another hurrah. Let's put it that way. And that will put an end to a certain era of Doctor Who and the beginning of a new one, the second reign of RTD. And, well, I figured what a perfect topic to have for this month, season finales. I definitely have one on the thumbnail. This is one season finale. You can definitely see a hint towards one in the background behind me. And, well, that's just going to be the topic. And what better person to have discussing this topic for this week on here with me, the same Sonic Snark that did not change his nickname.
Still Sonic. I'm still Sonic, damn it.
All right, fine.
Sonic in my heart, where it counts.
You know what? You be whatever you want to be.
Yes.
And you know what else? People who are what they want to be. People who have been celebrating their birthdays this week.
Wow.
I'm going to be honest. It's a really dry birthday section for today.
Okay.
But, well, I managed to gather enough people for a birthday section this week, so we're just going to go over it now.
Sure.
And, yeah, I was going to ask you to mute. Can't mute the dogs, but you can mute the audio. So we are counting down from the 31st of October to the 6th of November. And the 31st of October, Halloween day or Halloween night, I don't know, I don't care, I don't celebrate it. We have Justin Chatwin. This guy specifically, he of course played the character of Grant Gordon in the episode The Return of Dr. Mysterio, who also is the superhero known as the Ghost. So yeah, there is an actual superhero in the world of Doctor Who. And he was kind of a sort of pseudo-companion. Yes. And of course he did get his own comic spin-off after the thing called Ghost Stories. So, you know, you have a character in Doctor Who who's literally a superhero. What better use of that more than just to give him a comic book of his own? So, makes perfect sense to me. On the 2nd of November, we have Michael Kerrigan, who is this person right here. He's a director. He directed Battlefield in one of the episodes in the 7th Doctor era, the final episode in Doctor Who proper to feature the Brigadier, and he also directed 2 Sarah Jane Adventures episodes, The Day of the Clown and Secrets of the Stars. So, nope, that's a credit. On the 3rd of November, Mr. Richard Herndahl, who of course played the first Doctor in the 20th anniversary special, The 5 Doctors, because of course William Hartnell himself couldn't make it for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And on the 4th of November, I'm really going to get this name right. We have Bear McCausland, who's this kid. He, of course, played Stephen Carter, the grandson of Captain Jack Harkness in the Torchwood 5-part series, The Children of Earth. Have you seen that one, by the way? I've never asked.
No, I haven't seen that one.
It's
my Torchwood experience, I guess, a little spotty. Just a few episodes.
Dude, it's amazing.
You
I mean,
keep
the rest
saying
of
that.
Torchwood is Less said about the final season, the better. But this one is like one of the greatest pieces of sci-fi lore of all time.
Wow.
And what happens to this kid specifically is a major part of it.
Jeez.
Now, minor spoiler there. But now on the fourth, we have Robin Moore. She played a character called June Turner in the K9 spin-off series that I never watched. Again, not the one with the Satanists that you love so much. It is a different K9 show that, well, exists. So I suppose by default, she has to be here. On the 5th of November, we remember the 5th of November, we have Andrew Hayden Smith, who of course played the character of Jake Simmons in Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel, which of course he reprised that role for Doomsday, and of course he participated in the Doctor Who themed episode of The Weakest Link, and he appeared in a Big Finish once. So he's got a few participations. Let's call it what it is. And on the 6th, we have two. We have Neil Gorton. He's a prosthetics designer, which is
Makeup guy.
yeah, makeup, but more so designing the big, complex, complicated masks and whatever. He mainly worked on the Modern series and Torchwood. So yeah, he's got a lot of credits to his name. And a final one for today, also on the 6th, we have Nigel Allen Havers. I apologize for mispronouncing the name. It's this guy. He mainly played the character of Peter Dalton in The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, the guy that Sarah Jane was supposed to get married to before, I won't spoil the episode, but she didn't in the end. He also played a character in the 8th Doctor Adventures called No More Lies. And, I mean, look at him. The guy is basically a body double for John Pertwee, isn't he?
Maybe. Yeah. Just give him puffier hair.
Yeah, and whiter hair. But, like, I watched the episode, The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith. I looked at this guy, and I'm like, how did they get someone who looks exactly like John Pertwee to be the guy that Sarah Jane Smith is about to get married to? And you know what? It works because he looks so much like him.
That's true.
Who else would Sarah Jane Smith marry?
Well.
So, yeah, the wonderful list of people we had today. Thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you. So now, season finales. Now, catch me up. How many seasons have you watched in classics Doctor Who? More specifically, the season finales.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to say. Probably more from the.
Give me an estimate.
More from the third Doctor, 3 or 4, fourth Doctor, a couple. Just because we've also gone through so many Doctor regenerations and stuff like that. There's been some of that, like of course the last one.
Many of these are regeneration episodes too.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'll say estimate a bunch.
Good answer. I like that.
Okay, sure.
Of course, we're going to go over each and just say what we think about it. Now, the first one we have is, in my opinion, a bit of a letdown. It's The Reign of Terror, the season finale of season 1, the first ever season of Doctor Who. After what I consider, in my personal opinion, a stellar season, not a bad episode in it, we land on this thing, which is by far the most boring of the bunch.
How many episodes are in that first season? Like 20? Is it 26? There's a lot.
26-ish, but like it's divided over 8 serials.
Right.
And in my opinion, this is by far the worst. It's set in the French Revolution, during the French Revolution.
Sure.
Of course, 2 or 3 of the episodes of the 6 parts are missing. So there's that. But they did do the animated reconstructions. But even without that, I mean, it's kind of bland. Like, it's such a big departure from the other episodes of the season. There's a lot of boring French Revolution era politics, which is not done well, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Companions get separated from the Doctor and get separated from each other. There's some scenes in a prison. Probably the most fun part is the Doctor's outfit that you can see here. Like, he went for the craziest, most outlandish costume you can think of to try and blend in during this time, which is
He
apparently.
probably would have fit right in the revolutionary times and French
Yeah,
revolutionary times.
it's mentioned early in the episode that this is his favorite time in Earth's history.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. He seems to get some of the information wrong. So I don't know what it is. It's just something about this episode just doesn't sit well with me. Of course, it's got to take some credit for being the first ever Doctor Who episode to be filmed outdoors. There's
Mhm.
this one lovely scene of just the Doctor walking on foot from like one of the smaller villages into Paris, and it's
Right.
like it's a long establishing shot of just the Doctor walking through fields and grasslands and whatever. Not much is happening in the scene, but it's still cool and fun to see. But to me, like I said, it's pretty boring. The main villain, there's no interaction between the main villain and the historical, I should say, the historical main villain and any of the companions or even the Doctor. And
Right.
but only time where the episode really picks up and gets interesting is the final part, which features a scene with Napoleon himself that
Hmm.
again none of the characters meet or interact with. There's just like a scene of him talking to somebody that the companions overhear through a wall, but other than that, there's nothing to this episode. It's kind of bland. And of course, there's a lot of action. The main bad guy, if you know your history, uh, loses, and the Doctor companions get back to the TARDIS by the end. And there's a really cool, fun moment with all of them just talking about their experience and a nice way to wrap up the first season. But that's it. Does any of what I said sound interesting to you?
Well, yeah, like this is when they did quite a bit of actual historical stuff or whatever. I remember that from these first few seasons. I'm trying to think of which is the bad guy. Is it Robespierre? Is
Yeah,
that no?
Robespierre.
Okay, yeah, he's not a great guy, not a fun
And
guy.
he,
But of course, neither is Napoleon. But what are you gonna do?
well, of course, yeah, but like the companions are really excited to finally see Napoleon when he shows up. But no, see, here's what happens in the episode: he gets shot in the head and dragged out of his office alive. Is that something that happened in history?
Uh, I'm not like off the top of my head. Get it? I can't think of it. But
Hold on.
I would say
Before you
it very well could have happened because bullets back then were always kind of suspect.
yeah, I was gonna say before to say anything, you made a funny,
There you go. Thank you very much.
but
Thank you very much.
when I say shot in the head,
I won't do a Costanza and just walk off.
yeah, I'm out. But when I say shot in the head, he was kind of, it's you never actually get to see it. Like it
Hmm.
sort of happens off screen. There's some people standing outside his office. They walk in, you hear a gunshot, and then they drag him, and he's holding his head like this. So infer what you will. This is what happened.
Okay.
All right, should we move on to better season? I think by far
Yes, please.
this might be the most lackluster season. Okay, oh wait, I just saw one. Yeah, we've got one. We got another one coming, but it's much later. So the Time Meddler, the season finale of season 2. I love this episode. Can you guess why?
Vikings.
Well, yes, but another reason. Another
uh,
reason.
why?
Listen to the name.
The Time Meddler. I can't think of why.
It introduces one of my favorite villains, the meddling monk.
Ah, there you go. Of
Yeah,
course.
so there's an establishing of the meddling monk. They land in
Pikachu.
yeah, they guess maybe they don't like the monks. They're on Frenchie's side of the
Yeah.
fence. But yeah, so they land in 1066, and
Mm-hmm.
they just find the monk about to disrupt history as he does.
Yeah.
And I think it's 1066. Is that
Battle of
Eric
Hastings.
the Red?
That's Battle of Hastings, and I think
Yeah,
that's
the Battle of Hastings. But is it Eric the Red at that
no.
time?
I don't. No, I don't think so.
So yeah, basically he's about to
I'm trying to
nudge.
think. I don't think so though.
So nudges the Brits to win the Battle of Hastings, sort of change history and advance it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Advance technology, I should say, forward by a few hundred years. And naturally enough, the Doctor and friends stop him. This is really the first time where we actually get to see that it's possible to change history, because in an episode from the previous season, the Doctor gets really upset when Barbara deliberately tries to change history. Earlier in this season, Vicky, which is seen in this picture here,
Right.
almost changes history by accident by uh, poisoning Caesar Nero. So
Mm.
up until this episode, there's been this establishment of like, you can't change time, you can't meddle in time
Yep.
because it changes history. Time has to stay fixed. In this episode, we learn that not only that changing time is possible, but that the monk has been doing it for a while. And like, I can't remember some of the examples. One of the examples he gives is like, uh, the Egyptians only were able to build the pyramids using special technology that he gave them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always in the real world, there's always this discussion of how the Egyptians were able to build the pyramids the way they did using
Yeah.
the technology of the time.
A lot of weirdos think it was aliens.
Yeah,
They're weird.
and there's even a Doctor Who episode about that. But this is like the first time we get introduced to the idea that time travel can be meddled with. Of
Sure.
course, later in life it was established, and of course, the meddling monk is from the Doctor's own species, but we don't know what that species is yet. So, of course, later it was retroactively established, or as the kids say, retcon,
Right.
that um, Time Lords can do it. Other people, not so much. There's dire consequences, but when Time Lords do it, it's all right. So, yeah, aside from just the monk itself, I really like this episode. It's a really good uh, spy versus spy story. We get to see another TARDIS other than the Doctor, which isn't very impressive. It's just the same set as the Doctor's TARDIS, just painted black, more blackish.
Right.
But yeah,
Did you get to see what he actually used as it? Because I can't remember. Like the of course the doctor uses a police box, but do you get to see the meddling monks from outdoors, or is it just a police box as well?
no, it's because the TARDIS is supposed to blend in. It's supposed to change
Right.
its exterior appearances based on where it and when it lands. So the Doctor one is broken, the
Hmm.
monk's isn't. So it's like this table thing inside the monk's monastery.
Good.
And of course, the monk comes back from time to time, but every time he's got a different TARDIS, different exterior for his TARDIS.
Good.
And yeah, it's one I definitely encourage to watch. It's unlike the previous one we talked about. This one is not missing, so you can watch all 4 episodes as much as you like. And I highly recommend doing so.
Sure.
Now, from one season finale to I love to another season finale that I also really love, The War Machines.
Okay.
This is the first of the contemporary based on Earth stories where some evil computer just starts to brainwash people and forces them to build these machines, as you can see here, to take over the world. The other two were so and so. This to me feels like a season finale.
Yeah.
This to me is a season finale level threat. Like for a long time in the classic series, it just felt like the season finales were just another random episode. This one established that the season finales need to be an elevated level of threat. Like people getting brainwashed and war machines running around the streets of London, destroying and crashing stuff. The Doctor gets a lot of heroic moments to his credit. It's a really good episode. Of course, it gets rid of one of my least favorite companions of all time, Dodo Chaplet, and introduces a really cool companion couple in the form of Ben and Polly. And there's some really cool scenes with both of them. It's a really good establishing episode for them as well.
Right.
And it ends on one of my favorite cliffhangers of like after the Doctor saved the city, Voton, the evil computer robot thing, is defeated. Dodo decides to stay behind. Ben and Polly show up to bring the Doctor the news, and the Doctor disappointedly goes back into the TARDIS. Then they remember that they have a spare key that they needed to bring back to him. They go in the TARDIS to bring back his other spare key that he dropped earlier in the episode. They walk in, and then the TARDIS dematerializes, and that's how the episode ends. How did the Doctor react to seeing them both in his TARDIS? Wait for the next season.
Oh,
I like it. That's a really good cliffhanger way of ending a Doctor Who season. But yeah. I think because I know you and I know what you like, I think you're going to love this.
you know what I felt as soon as I saw that robot.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a kind of episode for me.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed I didn't hear the squeal of excitement I usually get from you.
Well, I was listening to what you're saying. It's like is that a machine? Is that or is it a robot? And if I hear it's a robot, then I'm definitely in. And it seems to be a robot.
It's I'm not just saying this. This is an episode made for you.
Perfect. Yeah, I was pretty excited when I saw that thing. It's like these things are the best. I love them.
Yeah, and
why is it number? Anyways, whatever.
Yeah, there's like 4 of these, which I'm pretty sure they just built the same one and switch out the numbers to give the illusion that there's multiple of these. Mm-hmm. But the numbers don't really matter much in the episode.
No,
not much of a point. But yeah, so fun fact about this episode, it was written specifically, I think it was by Kit Pedler, one of the co-creators of the Cybermen. And actually, if you watch this, it's very, very similar in context to the 10th Planet, which introduced the Cybermen. But it was just written because he didn't like the new post building that they built.
Right.
And I think he mentioned this, like he used to pace around in his office, think and look out the window at the London skyline, thinking, and that's where he got ideas from. And then when they finally built that big, tall building right in front of his view, he didn't like it. He didn't like that addition to the skyline, so he made it the headquarters of the villain in the season finale.
The power of the pen. 50.
And the power of writing. The pen is mightier than the sword.
That's right.
Okay, now we're not talking the 10th Planet because it's technically not a season finale. It's a season finale-like episode, right. And it's a regeneration episode, but it's not technically a season finale. The season finale for that season, which was the first season for Patrick Troughton's Doctor, is The Evil of the Daleks, which some parts of it are missing. I can't remember if they made an animated reconstruction. I think there's just the regular loose cannon reconstruction of just the static image with exposition at the bottom.
Right.
But I mean, this episode introduced the Dalek Emperor, which again, it boggles my mind that the BBC threw this out. Like, you look at some of the episodes they threw out, It's like, okay, I get it. They didn't think they could get much value from this episode. That I understand. This and the 10th planet are like, what the hell were they thinking? But anyways, I digress. If I start talking smack all over the BBC, I'll be here all day. So yeah, we're back on Skaro, the Dalek city on Skaro, uh, after being away for like 3 or 4 seasons. Of course, the Dalek Emperor is around. You see how imposing they made him look, and static, of course, because the Emperor doesn't move. He just sits around controlling all the Daleks. And I think that's a really good journey leading to the Dalek Emperor. Like they start in the 1960s. They somehow stumble upon a time machine that takes them back to the 1860s or 1800s. Don't want to give a specific year in case I'm wrong. That somehow someone was able to build a time machine in the 1800s that leads to the 1900s. Okay, not a lot of sense making there, but whatever. So it introduces us to the character of Victoria. Jamie gets to play a bit of a hero, saving the damsel in distress. The doctor, the doctor and Jamie have a bit of a fight because the Daleks want the doctor to experiment on his friend a little bit, which he does, to discover what is known as the human factor, so they can synthesize the opposite. We call it the Dalek factor, which is then revealed to be their plan all along. It's a very, like I said, it's a long journey to get to the Emperor until you actually get to Skaro again. The Doctor creates 2 Daleks with human-like emotions, 2 very childish Daleks that like to play around, which of course is how he defeats the Daleks by the end. And by the end of the episode, the human Daleks turn on the Daleks, and they fight one another. They destroy the entire city. All the Daleks get blown up, and even the Emperor is seemingly destroyed. But in classic Doctor Who fashion, they show you the villain dying, but they give you a small hint that he might be still alive by the end. And the Doctor wraps this up by claiming the final end. And for a while, it actually was the final end because we didn't get to see the Daleks for 4 or 5 seasons after this.
So, right. Now, this is the power of the Daleks.
The evil of the Daleks.
The
power
evil
of the Daleks. One.
Okay. Yeah, because a whole bunch of these are
the something of the Daleks.
Well, yeah, and also half animated, half stuff, but it seems to be I'm seemingly getting it. But with my episodes, like with the way the BBC, not BBC, what is this called? Works. The episodes are all over the place. So I'm trying to find even if I have that one, but I can't find it.
That's because if there's a serial where one part is missing, they just took out the entire serial altogether.
Yeah, a lot of these are the half reconstructed ones and stuff like that. So at least I've had those. But yeah, I don't see this one at all, which is unfortunate because it sounds.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, it's not the best Dalek story, but there's some cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
But are you interested in seeing it at least?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Cool. And what do you think of the Dalek Emperor design?
I think we've already gone over him before in a certain ranking episode that we did. Yeah, it looks cool in that picture, though.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Just a weird head.
I just wanted to see if your opinions changed.
No, not really. I like Dalek looking Daleks.
All right. It's got a very cool voice, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's the coolest voice by far from that up until that point. Before
they didn't go the Cyberman route, where they just kind of get more Shakespearean sounding at the end and don't even try and make it metallic anymore.
No, he actually sounds like one of the modern Daleks.
Ooh,
like in this era, the Daleks themselves don't sound much like the Daleks we're familiar with from the modern era. This one does. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so now we're on to Patrick Troughton's Second season finale, The Wheel in Space. Did you see this one for the Siren thing that we did?
Yeah, we actually just watched this a couple months ago when we were
Yep.
doing our Cyberman episode. So yeah, of course I've seen it, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit actually.
Yeah, and it follows the same Kit Pedler, Gary Davis model of like it's a mystery at first. You don't know who to trust. Then the Cybermen show up. You know it's a Cyberman story. There's like 3 or 4 Cybermen running around causing havoc. The Doctor and friends stop them, and then there's like 100 Cybermen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty formulaic. But you know what? Frenchie thinks it's a bad thing that all these Cyberman stories are repetitive. I say they're Cybermen. That's what they do.
That's right.
Of course, it's going to be repetitive.
And
So, yeah.
if I'm remembering right, I'm trying to remember what we thought of the actual look of the Cybermen in that one. I don't think we had it very high. I know you didn't like the circle down below, even though it had its own function, which is for the actors, so they could.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I
didn't say that. I just said we didn't have it as high.
Let me see if I can still pull it from
The accordion.
The accordion stomach.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 3rd time we see the Cybermen. Okay, I still have it. Still have it. Yeah, we didn't put it that high. Hold on, I'm going to share the screen.
Sure.
To show you. This is the tier list we made. Hold on, let me just put it in presentation. Oh, I can't. Oh, I can. There we go. Presentation mode before we show it to you. So these Cybermen, we put them over here.
Yeah. Yeah, so barely sufficient.
Yeah, I mean, they're not as cool as this original design or the first redesign that they did. Right. This is the 3rd one. So yeah, this is the 4th time we see the Cybermen, the 4th redesign. You know, it's a thing.
Yeah, they could have just left it alone.
Yeah, but again, of course, we can't bring this up without mentioning the holes that they added, so people wouldn't suffocate. So there's a reason.
What a bunch of wussies!
And there's a reason why they added that. Just the rest of the design they could have just left it as it is.
So, we don't want our actors to pass out. What a
again, babies. Like I said, there's a function for that. Yeah. Why they had to change the rest of the design.
That's true.
But the cyber mats make a return, and there's actually some functionality to the cyber mats this time. Well, there was functionality in 2 of the Cybermen, but they get to do more now. So we get to see how big of a threat they can be, despite how ridiculous they look.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. And of course, it introduces Zoe as well, as seen in this picture.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, it ends from a reused scene from The Evil of the Daleks. So that's cool. That's pretty cool, I think. And now we're on to the 3rd and final Patrick Troughton season finale, which is also our first regeneration story for today, The War Games.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen this?
I've seen the very last episode of it.
Dude, this is my favorite regeneration story ever. And you know what? It's only a regeneration story in the final part. It's a 10-part serial extravaganza. They land in what seems to be World War I, as seen in this picture here.
Mm-hmm, sure.
But right from the get-go, you can kind of pick up that there's something wrong here. Okay, so there's a conspiracy here. There's anachronistic technology, people not acting the way they should. There's some brainwashing thing. And as you go further and further into this conspiracy, you realize the scale and scope of this story. Eventually, at some point, they managed to travel from World War I to Roman times. And you realize that there's like all kinds of different wars throughout human history, all taking place at the same time. And you can literally walk from one to the other. and like there's people in strategic points leading the charge, leading the soldiers, and then you find out that this whole thing is just taking place on another planet that just took individual wars from their times in history and put them somewhere else. It's like Battle World from the Marvel comics. It's Battle World from
Okay.
the Secret War
Sure.
storyline where they keep different wars from human history all intertwined. Also, they can test how good the soldiers are, weed out all the bad soldiers, and make a full elite team of human warriors to build a grand army to take over the cosmos. And the best part is, one of these people called the warlords, which you can only assume that that's the name of their species. The species is never really actually properly named, so yeah, we get to see the warlords. But there's one guy who's slightly different from the other warlords. They don't trust him as much, and then you realize, oh yeah, he's a Time Lord, and that's the first time the word Time Lord is mentioned in Doctor Who.
Really?
You realize that that's the Doctor's species, and by the end, you get to go to Gallifrey before it's even mentioned. It's even named Gallifrey, and the warlords are being put on trial by the Time Lords, erased from history. The Doctor is then put on trial for stealing the TARDIS. They take Zoe and Jamie back to their home time, wiping their memories of the Doctor, forcing the Doctor to regenerate, and exiling him to Earth. And that's how the season ends.
Right.
What a great way to end a season.
You forgot one of the most important things.
Oh no, what is it?
You forgot that somehow it's been proven that Noel Gallagher's a Time Lord because he went back in time, and he's one of the Time Lords on the jury there against the Doctor at the very end. A guy who looks almost exactly like Noel Gallagher. So much so that he is now a Time Lord, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure that's fact.
Second. Live TV, folks, I was not prepared for this. Okay, so I found
This is not live. Live on tape.
Live.
Live on tape.
Live on tape. Yeah, exactly. Live on tape.
That's
I
right.
just found a picture of the 3 Time Lords.
I remember when we were going over this, how stunned I was at how much this guy looked like Noel Gallagher.
Hold on, it's uploading.
Mm-hmm.
Which of the 3?
Guy on the right, far right.
All right, if you say so. That's,
I say so.
That's hold on. That's Adelphi, I think. The Time Lord.
Mm-hmm.
It
it sounds very much like a Noel Gallagher-ish name.
All right. So you watched the Terror of the Autons, with the episode that introduces the Master.
Ooh.
With the Autons, the plastic.
Yep, I remember. Yep.
Yeah. So remember that guy the Time Lord that just pops out of nowhere, looking like a Charlie Chaplin impersonator with the umbrella and whatever.
I think so.
Yeah, that's the same.
That's him?
Yeah, same character, not the same actor.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go.
Well, that little tangent aside, so
Sure.
now we're on to
That's important stuff.
it's very important.
That's history. That's history on tape.
History in the making.
That's
Now,
right.
John Pertwee's first season finale, Inferno. Please tell me you've seen this one.
Yep.
Yeah, 7 episodes, and from a title like Inferno, you're in for something good, right?
Sure.
And even when the episode starts, like the title screen itself, like it's not the usual woo with the rolling squiggly lines. After the title of Doctor Who, it just switches into live footage from an erupting volcano, and the titles just pop out on screen. Okay, so okay, they put some effort into this episode. Let's hope it delivers. And boy, does it ever. You get potential world-ending plot. You get this. This whole thing is set in a nuclear reactor, and of course, they didn't film in an actual nuclear reactor, but the setting is a nuclear reactor. The Doctor removed the TARDIS console and put it somewhere else so we can work on it on the go. There's a hint towards what would become the sonic screwdriver in the form of the door handle. There's a disease that corrupts the people it touches. And oh yeah, we haven't even gotten to the main meat of the episode yet. There's a parallel universe that the Doctor accidentally travels to, where he finds out that, oh yeah, all the unit guys are assholes. And they're fascists. And the Brigadier's got an eye patch without a mustache on. Look at what they did to Liz in this picture. I mean, come on. Yeah, they're all, and like, parallel world. Everyone is more the main factory, the reactor head of the project guy is even a bigger dick than he is in the usual episode. And then we learn that the disease that corrupts people turns them into freaking monsters. They can only be stopped with fire extinguisher, and then they continue to drill into the center of the Earth, and essentially they blow it up. They cause the death of their world, despite the Doctor trying to warn them. And like the last couple of episodes turn into the Doctor and friends trying to get back to where he left the TARDIS console while the entire Earth is coming apart around them. One of the cliffhangers is like the Doctor managing to get back to his main universe with all the lava and the destruction entering the warehouse, and all the other people standing in front of him burn alive in front of him. And it's not over yet, because he's got to stop the evil asshole guy from blowing up the Earth on this universe.
Yep.
But everyone's not fascists. This is great. I love this. This, I think, is the episode where they finally realized that, oh yeah, we need to make season finales something big and massive. And this is a great way to start.
Is this the one with the fire extinguisher? Is that the end?
Yeah, I mentioned it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep. I'm sorry, just keep rolling through my head and stuff like that. Honestly, I couldn't get over the Brigadier without a mustache and an eye.
Even the Doctor. By the way, you do know that during the second, third, fourth Doctor eras, that mustache is glued on. It's not a real mustache.
It's fine.
All right, just checking.
Yeah, makes sense.
What do you think about him with a mustache?
Without the mustache?
Sorry,
Yeah.
mustache. My bad.
Yeah, he looks like he could have been in Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
He knows nothing.
Yeah, I knows nothing.
I know nothing.
So that's all you got to say, or did I say everything you wanted to say?
I think you've said quite a bit, but yeah. Like I said, Third Doctor is probably my favorite Doctor, so I'm up for everything about him. So yeah, right.
I'm sorry, I just love these episodes so much. I just can't stop gushing about them.
This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. 50.
This is the time and the space to do it.
Oh my goodness gracious, you're right.
So let's see if I can contain myself with this next one.
Doubt it.
The demons. First of all, it's very similar to Inferno. You get the title screen is something different. Like they use a letter that's not from the English alphabet. I'm pretty sure it's Norwegian or
the Daemons one or whatever.
Yeah, the Daemons with the A and the I.
Yeah.
A and the E connected. That's a letter from either Norwegian or Icelandic. I can't remember the name of the. Maybe it's both.
I thought it was Old English actually, but yeah, I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's one of those Scandinavian languages, but whatever. It doesn't matter. That's just the title. It's what does matter is I mean, look at the Master here.
Yeah, fantastic.
The Master basically summons the devil, for lack of a
Mm-hmm.
better word.
Yeah.
And you know what? This guise of the guys that summons the devil, it fits the Master like a glove,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's demons running around. There's the demon Bach. One of my favorite effects in Doctor Who. He just sprays some sparkles at someone, and they just edit him out to make it look like he disintegrated him. That's like great Doctor Who visual effects at their finest.
Yep. I
There's a
don't
whole
disagree. I don't
yeah
disagree about anything. You know how much I love this episode or these
yeah it's
episodes.
episodes because it's I think it's a 6-parter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a scary village, which actually is the background for this episode. Hold on, I'll give you a look. Yeah, so that's the church that the Master is doing his evil satanic summoning. I just love the village itself and how they set the whole thing around the village. You get to
Yep.
see Benton and Mike Yates in civilian clothes, which is a rarity in this era.
Yep.
There's a lot of really funny moments. There's a heat shield protecting the village, and just Joe Grant being the hero that she is. So this episode, there's a lot to love about this episode.
Yep.
And I found so this is the title for the
Right. Yeah.
with the A and the E. That's it took me a while before I realized that that's an actual letter.
Yeah.
I just thought they made it look cool for the title, but no, that's an actual letter.
And also with this one, isn't Joe's the hero of this one, right? At the end?
Yeah,
Yeah.
She
She jumped out in
offers it.
front and sacrificed herself instead of the doctor. And no. There you go.
Yeah,
And
and that's what ends up being
the demon can't comprehend it. Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Love that Joe Grant. Joe Grant, so great.
Yeah, we love Joe Grant. And it's very similar to something she did in the next season finale, the Time Monster. I mean, just this picture alone, as I think, is all you really need.
Yeah.
Like,
He was so good.
Yeah, and you get to see Atlantis. And, I mean,
Mhm.
you already saw Atlantis in The Underwater Menace, but, like, this is a proper Atlantis at its prime. And the evil chronovore Kronos, which of course is the Roman god of time. No, sorry, the Greek god of time. The Greek Roman god of time is Saturn. But so we get an evil chronovore, which sets up several seasons later the idea of time vampires being what they are.
Yeah.
David Prowse shows up in this episode as a Minotaur.
Yep.
Before he was Darth Vader, of course. This episode's great. Benton gets turned into a baby. I feel like I'm gushing about this episode on my own. How about you?
I loved it. Another one, of course, with the Master. So the Master's so interwoven with the Third Doctor, especially, and the original Master was so terrific and taken from us far too early. So every time you get to see him, it's an absolute treat. And we sure got a bunch. We got a bunch of Master centric episodes with the Third Doctor, and I may have liked the Demons better, but this is a fantastic group of episodes as well.
I completely agree. I think the Demons is better, but this is a really good episode.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love the architecture in this in Atlantis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the time that like Kronos, the time monster, and that queen or whatever is also kind of back and forth near the end. And so, yeah, it's really good. It's good.
Yeah, and here's a negative I'll say about this episode: the interior of the TARDIS.
Okay.
The TARDIS interior in this episode, it's trash. Come on, with the salad bowls on the walls.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't pay as much attention to those kind of things. I don't have the eye for it, but I know that you do. So yeah, I wouldn't have even thought of it. But now thinking about it, yeah, sure, why not?
But with this trashy design for the TARDIS, they have this really cool moment of the Doctor's TARDIS inside the Master's TARDIS, and
Yep.
the Master's TARDIS inside the Doctor's TARDIS. And did they keep trying to one up each other in this episode? And how this ends is by having Joe sacrifice herself to save the Doctor again, just like she
You
did
have
in
to
this
say
episode.
again. Yep.
But in return, it turns out she saves the universe with that selfless act. And then they meet Kronos himself or herself. You know, it's kind of a pan-dimensional being. But what I like about this is Kronos talks to the Doctor directly, and the Doctor's like, "You know me?" And Kronos says, "Of old."
Oh yeah.
You know,
They kept hinting.
I mean, they always hint that the Doctor is more than what we think they are. I see this as, if you want to prove the timeless child using this, you can.
Yep.
I think we're too hung up on that. But, it's just another proof that the Doctor is not just a Time Lord. The Doctor is more than what we thought this whole time. But,
Yeah.
you know,
Maybe he's right up there with Rassilon. Who knows?
yeah. Or, before Rassilon. Who knows?
That's true.
I think we just ignited the internet with that uh, reference. So let's move on to the next scene finale, the Green Death. With the giant maggots and the
Yeah,
sentient talking computer thing called the Boss. You know, this one's all right.
that's fine.
And I mean,
That's a fantastic tartan coat he's wearing, by the way.
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like,
But
yeah, was there anyone more stylish than the Third Doctor?
no,
He gets it.
I think this is easily the best dressed Doctor.
Yeah. Like, he pulls off a purple tie with that. Like, how does a man do it? And a ruffly shirt? Come on.
It's simple. Bow ties are cool.
Yeah, he just nails it.
And the gloves, man, the gloves.
Yep.
So yeah, if the only thing we can talk about from this episode is the way the Doctor dresses, it just kind of shows you what we think of this episode.
Yeah.
I think the first two parts of this episode are kind of pointless.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really lead anywhere. I mean, I think what's his face, Cavan Scott, I believe. Cavan Scott and Katie Manning have great chemistry. Of course, they
Yeah.
were a couple at the time, which is why they end up getting married by the end of the episode, which is how Joe leaves. And it's one of my favorite companion departure scenes of all time. Just the Doctor leaving the party while everyone's celebrating, gets into Bessie, just drives off. It's a beautiful shot. But other than that, I mean, there's giant maggots in this episode.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of time wasting. I don't know. I mean, it kind of. I mean, I guess if we're following up this, and this, it's natural that we look down on this for not being as great. But
They can't be all, 5 stars, I guess, right?
I suppose.
Makes the other ones more special. Makes the other ones more special.
Yeah, I think this might be the weakest link out of the Third Doctor's 5 seasons. But you know what? Even a not so great episode in this era is still pretty good.
Pretty good.
But what do we think about his final season finale, which is also his regeneration episode, Planet of the Spiders? First of all, you can see he aged in the role.
Yeah.
From this all the way to this.
I would even say from the Green Death to that, he looks so much older, actually.
Actually, yeah. I think when they filmed The Green Death, this was before Roger Delgado passed away. Well, I think he passed away. Tragically died in a car crash, but maybe that weighed on him. I think that they took a bit of a break in filming between seasons, but they were really close. They were really close friends, and
Yeah,
his death really affected him. So that's often cited as the main reason he left. But
can't blame him. And
yeah,
he had done it for 5 years or whatever. I think, yeah,
yeah,
and like I
he
said,
had a good,
my
he had a good
my
run.
favorite Doctor, pretty good run.
Yeah,
He's a little older. Why not enjoy your life for a little bit before
and
while
of
you can?
course he gave life to another hugely iconic character after this, Warzel Gummidge. So yeah, he's got two major icons under his belt.
Hmm.
Let him have his time off the show, and of course came back a couple of times. So he never really stopped being a doctor until his final days.
Yeah, yeah. As for these episodes, I really like this serial as well. You just have to excuse some of the choices for actors or whatever. But I
Uh,
re-
why?
isn't this the one with
Oh yeah, the
yeah, Tochi? Was that his name?
Joji,
Hmm.
played by the way by Kevin Lindsay, who played the Sontarans in the this era.
Oh, okay.
And so he's used to prosthetics already by this point.
Yeah, all right.
He's used to having make.
Yeah.
But to me, when I think of this episode, aside from just the regeneration scene, there's one other thing that really pops into my head.
What's that?
Go. I command you, go.
I have come to give you the power you seek.
Power?
That's Doctor Who acting at its finest. Am I right?
It's pretty good.
It's
Pretty good.
go. I command you, go. Power,
Power.
power. I just love this, and like I couldn't play the full scene for copyright reasons. I didn't get into trouble for that, but
Nope.
like after that, when she jumps on his back, it's like,
Yeah.
and then the wire lifting her up. They just threw him at his back,
Yep.
threw a plastic spider at his back,
$30 and you got to see it. There you go.
and cut away, cut back again.
Efficiency. That's
Yeah, it's just-
efficiency.
Again, just Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who visual effects at its finest. So I don't know what to tell you. It's great. I love it.
Hmm.
Of course, they when they made the spider props, apparently, according to them, it was so realistic that they were afraid that people with arachnophobia might lose their heads if they saw it. So Barry Letts, the producer slash showrunner at the time, said, "We got we'll throw these out. We got to make them less realistic." So they did, and people still lost their minds over it. So win them all. And another thing that I don't think it's talked about enough from this episode, the villain's speech at the end with the giant spider. Like, first of all, it's a classic case of the villain gets what they want at the end, and that's what kills them, right? Because all the great one, or praise to the great one, wanted was the crystal that the Doctor stole the previous season in this episode right here. So she finally gets it, and she puts it in the thing, and that's what kills her. It's like, yeah, it's I don't remember actually I do remember the full speech, but I'm not gonna say it out loud. It's like, bow down planets, bow down stars, bow down whole galaxies, and worship the me, the great and powerful me. And then all the power kills him. He's like, my heart, it's burning my brain. Yeah, great,
Jeez.
great villain speech.
That's some great acting there by 50.
I mean, I have to follow up a giant spider, so I gotta step up my game, right?
Sure, yeah, that's right.
And from one amazing, incredible season finale to this.
the,
Revenge of the Cybermen.
the Lego Cyberman.
The Lego Cybermen. Honestly, just like Reign of Terror, I think it's a stellar season that just happens to end up on this.
Yeah.
And again, we see the stupid racist Asian stereotypes with the Vogons and really bad looking Cybermen, and just it's not good.
No.
The Revenge of the Cybermen is not good. The Cybermats also make a return. They look bad. And remember, this is the first time we've seen the Cybermen since the invasion. Okay?
Right.
A whole Doctor away. There were no Cybermen for the third Doctor.
Too busy with the Master.
Yeah, he was busy with the Master.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the first time we get to see Cybermen since 1969. And this is what we get.
But on the positive side, they fixed your mouth hole.
True. Yes.
That's
Another positive this comes out of this episode is that apparently someone really liked the symbol for the Vogons city or
right.
whatever. So
I
they
remember
retroactively was like, oh no, that's the symbol for the Time Lords. That's the Time Lords seal of Rassilon. Like, forget about these racist Asian stereotypes. This belongs to the Time Lords now.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the best thing to come out of this episode is this.
Harry Sullivan is an imbecile!
R.I.P.
Yep.
So here's it.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of R.I.P., the Seeds of Doom, and the R.I.P. of course is Sarah Jane, but Elizabeth Slade.
Mm-hmm.
But this is really cool. I mean, it kind of starts off very similar to the Thing. Like they find this mysterious thing from space in a base. They sort of infect someone, and it's kind of like the Thing for the first couple of episodes, until of course they blow up the whole base.
Right.
And then they go back to the usual stuff of just running around in London. Curiously, no brigadier unit in this episode, but this introduces the Crinoids into the Doctor Who mythos. Creatures that just don't have a home planet. They just travel through space, infecting people with their spores, I guess, and then the population slowly turns from being, meat and flesh and blood based to being plant based, and then just devouring all the animals on any given planet, and they just grow and grow and grow until they take over, and that's kind of it.
I was going to say, I do not remember much of this. I remember parts of it, but I couldn't remember the entire serial, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good reuse of the costume they had for the Axons.
Maybe that's why I'm even remembering, because
They just spray painted it green instead of red, but that's it.
Yeah.
I will say though, I showed one of the other episodes we did last year. I showed a picture of a crinoid to Marie Wilson, and that gave her nightmares. So, I think it says a lot for the costume design.
Yeah.
In Doctor Who.
Yeah, especially back then, which was great.
Yeah, and speaking of the costume design back then, the next season finale, arguably the most infamous Doctor Who classic story of all time, for all the wrong reasons, of course.
Too.
The Talons of Wen Chiang. Like, when you talk about a product of its time in Doctor Who, specifically with all the yellow face we've been talking about this episode, this is the crown jewel of that.
Mm-hmm.
However, having said that, racist yellow face aside, it's a really good episode. It's a really good episode that just happens to have some racist stuff in it.
Yeah,
Which can be said for several Doctor Who episodes, but mean, it's got a really good villain in Wang Chiang or Magnus Greel. It's again, if you can look away from the horrifying face of Li Sang Cheng, it's another really good henchman. Another great henchman with a terrible looking face is Mr. Sin. And of course, it introduces Jago and Lightfoot, which became their own
Right.
spin-off on Big Finish. A great spin-off. I've listened to about 8 of their box sets so far. So they've just got a really good pairing. There's some really cool, fun stuff with Leela. Could have done without the bad effects for the giant rats. But just the whole atmosphere for this episode. The Doctor playing Sherlock Holmes in the episode is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And an all-around really good episode with some product of its time level stuff in it. Anything to add?
Maybe probably shouldn't, but yeah, it looks like this is when the Fourth Doctor was hitting his stride. I think through this period, I think Tom Baker figured out what he wanted to do with the Doctor and stuff by then. He was just in a groove.
I don't know, man. I think he hit it from the start, from day one. Before he got his costume, I think he already had a nail on this Doctor. That's just me, of course.
Sure.
But these, of course, I think were the golden years of Doctor Who, the Philip Hinchcliffe era of Doctor Who. Not to say that it went to hell after that. It's just it was still good, but not Genesis of the Daleks level good. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Genesis of the Daleks, Invisible Enemy, the Deadly Assassin. These episodes are like, I mean, we talked about the Planet of the Spiders scene or whatever. We talked about how much we love the Third Doctor era, but I think episodes like that, those are Doctor Who at its finest. Those are episodes you show people who never watched classic Who. You show them these episodes and they fall in love. I showed Deadly Assassin to Soda and he loved it. He loved Deadly Assassin. Almost convinced him to watch more classic Doctor Who, but well, whatever.
What a guy.
And speaking of the Deadly Assassin, it brought us to Gallifrey properly for the first time. And the next time we went back to Gallifrey was in The Invasion of Time.
Mm-hmm.
This is another really good one. Again, we're seeing Time Lord Society at its peak, at its prime. The Doctor is being more mysterious than usual for reasons unknown throughout the episode. The Doctor becomes the president of Gallifrey.
Yeah.
Alienates everybody, including Leela and K9.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he can help these aluminum foil wearing creatures invade Gallifrey and take over. Just showing the Time Lords how far they've fallen, that these aluminum guys can take over their planet and just boss them around and completely immune to the Time Lords' telepathy. And then the Doctor helps to stop them and defeat them. It was like, oh, okay, so the episode's over. We won. Yeah, great. Wrong, because the Sontarans show up. This was all a ploy by the Sontarans to invade Gallifrey. And I just want to put this in context. The Sontarans invaded and conquered Gallifrey before the Daleks did. Yeah. Put that in your head for a second.
Yep. Gallifrey was invaded first and taken over by a bunch of big toes.
Nah. Sontaha. So, what can you tell us about this episode?
Having trouble remembering. I keep getting it mixed up with the assassin one. I'm trying to think of what happens at the end. This is the one with the key of Rassilon and stuff like that.
Yeah, when they walk into the TARDIS and they just wander around the TARDIS for almost an episode. You find out all these different rooms we've never seen before, like the sick bay, the art gallery, the pool, the swimming pool. I think the library also showed up.
It's like they're playing hide and seek or some kind of
where they walk around the same building which they used to film one of the scenes, and they walk around the same area of the building.
Yeah. Yeah. I like like I said, like Tom. I know most people's favorite is Tom Baker. It's just these ones just weren't just aren't as much of a favorite of mine. So yeah, these episodes were good. Like these episodes are all good and stuff like that. But I'm gonna prefer like the Third Doctors, all of the Third Doctors except for maybe the Green Death to these.
I agree. Just I just love everything we get to learn more about Gallifrey. Like,
Right.
I'm a big fan of the Gallifrey series on Big Finish.
Yes, of
And
course.
a lot of the elements from that series came from this episode and Deadly Assassin.
Hmm.
Okay, now next in finale, Tom Baker had a lot of these apparently.
A lot.
The Armageddon Factor. So after a full season of wandering around time and space looking for pieces for the key to time, they land on this one place where there's a war between two planets. It's a very Star Wars, Star Trek-y episode that the Doctor and Romana just find themselves in, and K9, of course. We find Drax, an old friend of the Doctor from the Academy. We learn that the Doctor's nickname in the Academy was Theta Sigma, which of course is a hint towards the Doctor's real name, if you could believe that. The Black Guardian shows up properly for the first time, and the Doctor goes into some dark places with the key to time, using the power for his own. And it turns out the final segment of the Key to Time was a real person, a humanoid person, in Princess Astra, played by Lala Ward, which in the next season plays the new Romana.
Yay.
So, there's a lot of cool, nerdy, geeky Doctor Who stuff in it, but overall, on the whole, story-wise, it's meh. Especially compared to the rest of the episodes in this season.
But it did bring us the person who will become Romana too.
Sure. And that happened, and that's good.
Good.
Now, the next one, there really isn't that much to talk about because this episode itself never properly aired.
What?
Shada. The infamous episode that they stopped filming in the middle because of some strike with the BBC. Or whatever. So a lot of the footage that was shot was released in a special release where Tom Baker himself just narrates all the moments that didn't get shot, that they didn't film.
Hold on. You look it up real quick.
And last year, or the year before, I can't remember, they made the proper animated reconstruction. Like this episode was remade and redone several times. It was made as a Big Finish thing with the 8th Doctor replacing the 4th Doctor. But it's still the same storyline, beat for beat. So
for me, it's there. It's on the Brit thing or whatever. It's the 2017 animated reconstruction of the unaired serial The Planet Shada. The Time Lords have constructed a high security prison for some of the universe's most dangerous criminals, and it's a full 2 hours long.
Now,
more than 2 hours.
So 2017 was when they released it? I thought it was last year for some reason.
Yeah, according to this. You know what? It's timey-wimey stuff.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
Mm-hmm.
And this introduces us to not only just a Time Lord Supermax prison, but also a Time Lord supervillain in Sullivan in this picture, who learned the error of his ways and became a good guy by the end. But still,
your evil grandpa.
Yeah, evil grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all we can say about it. I'm pretty sure you've seen this next one, which is, of course, Tom Baker's final one.
Mm-hmm.
Logopolis.
Yeah. That's second Doctor or second Master. I don't know.
I mean, technically speaking, it's the fourth from the point of view of just watching the episodes, but
Right.
well, this episode, I mean, introduces us to Tegan,
Yep.
brings back Nissa, and it also brings back the Master after getting himself a new body at last.
I was hoping that just by mentioning it, you would do the new body at last, and of course he did. So day is made.
Well, I got to. I have
Yeah.
to.
That's true. Legally.
Yeah, contractually obligated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Master blows up Kraken, which not only the planet we've been on in the previous episode, but it's also the home planet of Nissa. Poor girl.
Yeah.
And
And she has to hang around with the guy that's living in the body of her father.
Yep. And she hates him for what
Yeah,
he
no
did to
kidding.
both her father and her people.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he set in motion events that will destroy the universe. Because that's what the Master does.
Yep. Never seems to quite work out for him, but he keeps on trying. God love him. He keeps trying.
Yep. And then the Doctor falls off a large satellite dish and regenerates.
Yeah. And he has, what is that? What is the name of the, what do they call him? The Other or something like that? What is the name of
The Watcher.
The Watcher? Yeah, the Watcher is
Yeah.
there throughout it, watching Tegan when she first, has her car broken down on the side of the road and all that stuff. Yeah.
So this introduced a lot of interesting stuff about regeneration we never knew before, and
Mhm.
never really bothered to explain any of it because why the hell not? It's Doctor Who.
I'm trying to remember. I think you liked that thing or whatever, where everyone's saying like "Doctor, Doctor," like at the end or whatever. It's just
It could have been
everybody saying
anything
"Doctor."
better, but I loved it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
didn't, if I remember correctly.
I'm sorry.
If I remember rightly, you didn't like that.
I wasn't a huge fan of it. No, I thought it was a little cheesy. You didn't need everybody. Yeah, just everybody.
I mean, it was so good that Stephen Moffat recreated it for Capaldi.
Yep.
I mean, that I feel like that was a bit pointless, but he did it anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so Logopolis. I mean, still a really good episode, but just, I mean, look what it had to follow up on.
Yeah.
A new body at last.
A new body at last.
A new body at last.
Yeah, what a guy.
Speaking of the Master, he shows up again in the next season finale, Time Flight.
Yeah.
And oh boy, the Asian stereotypes do not end with the Talons of Cheyenne, apparently.
No.
So yeah. I mean, we finally bring Tegan to where she wanted to go this whole time. Heathrow Airport, and the airplane is taken out of time. The Doctor goes back to try and find it. There's some cool scenes in the airport. Not gonna lie, really bad effects. Adric shows up again after being deceased in the previous episode.
Right.
But just the character of Khalid, which is then secretly revealed to be the Master. Like, I'm gonna be straight up with you here. What you're seeing here, that's Anthony Ainley playing the Master, playing Khalid. And to get into the character of Khalid, I don't know if you knew this. Anthony Ainley, according to Tom Baker at least, as bald as a kneecap.
Oh, really?
Those are Tom Baker's.
You went to the wood? You went right down to the wood?
Yeah. So, like, what you're seeing here, that's a wig. Which I suppose explains why the Master's hair never really changes in all 9 years he's played the character. But he's very, very, very self-conscious and sensitive about his hair situation. He refused to remove the wig to play Khalid. So what they did was they gave him a bald cap on top of the wig to play this character.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, That's what some people would do for their hair, and I can relate to that.
Well, I guess.
Nothing much to add here.
Not much. I remember enjoying the episodes, and I remember I liked some of the episodes before the final episode of it was pretty good. I remember them being in that other space or whatever, and the pilots going around and stuff like that. So, uh, yeah, I don't remember this thing like beat for beat, but we watched it pretty recently. I think February we watched it, or March. I can't remember when we were doing the stuff about the Master, but yeah, I
It
rewatched
was March.
I rewatched every episode of the Master and stuff like that. So now piecing a bunch of them together makes it a little difficult. But I remember this episode. Yeah, it was good. I thought it was good.
All right.
You know, it's not one of my favorite ones, but I think it was good.
Another place the Master shows up in the King's Demons.
Yeah, your favorite chameleon.
Not my favorite. I don't hate him as much as most people do.
Yeah.
But just, I don't like him as much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Overall, on the whole, I think this episode was kind of pointless. Like, if they just ended it on the previous serial, which was Enlightenment, which is a great episode in my opinion. I love Enlightenment.
Which one's Enlightenment?
It's the one with the boat race in space.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah. And this one is the one with the king. Is it King John or something like that? And
Yeah, this was King
yeah.
John.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to say anything more than a boat race in space.
Sure.
Hey, never mind that the Black Guardian and the White Guardian show up at the end. A boat race in space is cool enough on its own. and then they give us this as the season finale. It's a two-parter. I think it's the first time the season finale was a two-parter, but the Master reveal is pretty cool, but there's not much going for this episode. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, like it's not a spectacular episode, but yeah, and making the chameleon practical was weird. Instead of just having somebody dressed up like it.
They literally found this thing in the junkyard,
Yeah.
and they thought they could make it to work.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't know.
But hey, at least this episode leads into the Five Doctors,
Yes.
which is cool. But we're not here to talk about the Five Doctors. And you know what? That's the last we're going to see the Fifth Doctor, because his regeneration episode wasn't even the season finale. So, like, he regenerated in Caves of Androzani, which is good. I'll say this. I wasn't always the biggest fan of Caves of Androzani. People seem to love it for some reason. I wasn't always a big fan of it, but in recent years, I've sort of come around on my thoughts on this episode. I do enjoy it a bit. That's how the season should have ended, but with the Caves of Androzani being what it is, and the Doctor regenerating into Colin Baker, then for some reason the season finale is Colin Baker's first episode, The Twin Dilemma. And true to its name, there's some dilemmas with this episode. This episode is very problematic. I mean, case in point, one of the first things the Doctor does, he strangles his female companion to the ground because he's still very unstable.
Yeah.
And well, we get to find one of the Doctor's old mentors, Asmael, which is revealed to be a villain, a bad guy, really dumb-looking villain, which was made fun of by Ricky Gervais several decades later in his show Extras.
Yeah.
But not really a lot of substance. I think someone argued the best thing that came out of this episode was that moment of him Colin Baker walking out of a place, seeing Asmael, he's like, villain! And then people just took that scene and added Chris Chibnall on top of it because people like to vilify.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, not much to talk about with this episode. Like, as a post-regeneration story, it should not have come at the end of a season. I'll never understand what they were thinking with this episode, but I think the worst part of it is this being the season finale. Really bad start for Colin Baker.
They gave him some bad luck, I think, didn't they?
A lot. And
Yeah.
because this was the season finale, and people had to wait several months to see this Doctor again, before he got his own proper season, he never stood a chance of being liked by the people. And that's one of the main reasons, I think, why his tenure in the TV show is so complicated. Because after the next season, there was like 18-month hiatus, which, by the way, not including when the show was off the air completely, this is the longest hiatus between seasons in Doctor Who. We whine and bitch and moan and complain the fact that it's been over a year since the previous Doctor Who episode.
Right.
And now, back in the 80s, they waited 18 months from one season to the next. So just keep that in mind.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Long for us.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, the Doctor was still very, very unstable in this episode.
Unstable? Unstable?
I see what you did. I see what you did.
Yeah. I wouldn't have done it.
Very good.
Okay, next, Colin Baker's first proper season and proper season finale, Revelation of the Daleks. Not to be confused with Revolution of the Daleks. So yeah, Davros is back again. I think this is the first time Davros has been in a season finale. That's something.
Mm-hmm.
But just like the rest of Colin Baker's time, it's problematic. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad episode. It's just there's some questionable stuff in there. Like, first of all, Davros is introduced as a disembodied head in a machine. Okay, right off the bat, you're not starting, and that's not a very good start. And just the idea that they're turning the bodies of deceased people into Daleks, and there's the scene of the glass Dalek with the pile of flesh with one eye and a mouth inside a Dalek, and the girl realizes that that's her father in it. Yeah, it's very problematic. It's nice to catch up on the Dalek Civil War between the Imperial Daleks and the Rogue. Is it the Rogue Daleks? Yeah. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm forgetting the Outlaw Daleks.
I can't remember.
Renegade. Sorry, the Renegade Daleks and the Imperial Daleks.
Mm-hmm.
And Davros's hand gets blown. His one good hand is blown up by a Dalek in this episode, which is why he's got a metal hand in his next appearances. I think you don't see one in Remembrance of the Daleks. So when he shows back up in the modern series with the David Tennant episode, he's got the metal hand. So that's cool.
Yeah, at least they ran with that.
Yeah, that's why he's. And this episode is the reason why they blasted his hand. Like, there's only so few parts of him still attached to his body, and they blow one, and they take out another one of his parts. But yeah, this sort of introduces the idea of levitating Daleks. I mean, Davros's life support system can levitate a bit, but only a bit.
Right.
A lot of problems with this episode. So let's move on.
Sure.
Thankfully, I think Colin Baker got a proper season finale finally on the TV show, that is, with The Ultimate Foe. Of course, this is all a big part of the Trial of a Time Lord, which officially is, I can't remember the official number. It's like, let me see, 4, 8, 12. Yeah, like a 14-part, one big seasonal arc thing, but the ultimate foe is like the final two parts of it.
Yep.
I think this is great. It introduces us to not only the Valyard, which was introduced it was all over this season, but you later find out that, oh yeah, the Valyard is actually the Doctor from the future. And he went inside the Matrix and tried to trap the Doctor inside the Matrix. This is, I think, a really good episode.
Yeah.
Michael Jason plays the role of the Valyard wonderfully, and there's some really cool effects done in this episode. You can tell they really went all out. They spared no expense with this. And I think the end result was pretty good. But, well.
I'm still yet to see the entire season 23, like the entire Trial of the Time Lord. But
I recommend it.
Yeah, I know that I had to watch the last episode just because I was watching every episode of a certain somebody that shows up.
Okay. Oh yeah, the Master is in this. Yeah.
Spoilers for a show that happened however many years ago, 30-something years ago.
Closer to 40, I think. Is
it 40? Wow.
No, it's 86.
Pretty close. Pretty close than 40.
38.
Unbelievable.
Now, sadly, this is the last we see of the Sixth Doctor on the TV show until Power of the Doctor happened. Because we don't talk about Dimensions in Time, of course. But so yeah, he didn't properly get a regeneration episode. We just get thrown into, or rather, sorry, Sylvester McCoy gets thrown into this mess of a season series trying to save what's left of it, and got a full season, which ends on the episode Dragonfire, which of course that's where Melanie leaves and the newly introduced Ace joins the Doctor. I mean, there's some cool stuff, like Ice World itself is a really cool concept. Sabalom Glitz comes back after being in the Trial of a Time Lord series.
Right.
There's an ice dragon. There's a really, really cool effect that's 87. Yeah, so this is after Raiders of the Lost Ark. But still, it's very similar to the Nazis' faces being melted away. There's a really cool effect there in this episode with the guy having his entire flesh burned away from his body, from his face. Yeah.
Yeesh.
It's a really cool moment. There's a really pointless cliffhanger in this episode, and I mean literal cliffhanger. The Doctor, for no good reason, just decides to hang himself over a cliff. And that's how one of the episodes ends. It's
kind of hit you over the head with it, right?
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's like they had no way of ending this episode on a cliffhanger, so they just made an actual cliffhanger for some reason. But yeah, the introduction,
maybe someone didn't understand the assignment.
Maybe, I don't know, or just really lazy. But I mean, the introduction of Ace is really cool. Like a girl from Earth in the 1980s has an experiment in her room and somehow gets transported 2 billion years into the future. How did that happen? Wait till the final season, and then we'll talk. Yeah. You didn't see this one?
No, I didn't. I actually haven't seen very much of McCoy's Doctor at all. Of course, I've seen the last one, what we'll talk about, and I also know what happens, which one we're going to be talking about next. But again, I've only seen bits of this one. I know that you may have named a show after the season finale for the next season.
Yeah, I mean, even if you haven't seen the episode, I'm guessing you heard the name of the episode at least once because it's the greatest show in the galaxy. So yeah, the Doctor and Ace land on a planet that's playing host to the Psychic Circus, which is basically just a circus where the people who go to attend are kind of being forced to participate as the freak shows in the psychic circus itself, which are then being used to feed the gods of Ragnarok, who are just sitting in the audience randomly and eating popcorn and doing nothing. But, they're gods. They don't have to do anything if they don't want to.
True.
And this episode, I think, really gives Sylvester McCoy to really stretch his comedic stuff, because I don't know if you knew this, but Sylvester McCoy is legitimately part of a traveling circus act before he was an actor. Like, that's how he got into acting. I think he started out as a sanitation worker on a traveling circus act. One of the acts was sick, and the ringmaster was like, "You, what do you do?" I'm sanitation. Good. Get in the ring. You're up, man. You're up now. And Sylvester McCoy did his iconic. He just played them with the spoons, which he does all over the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he got the part, and that's how he got into acting.
That's bananas.
It's not just, it's a banana tree.
What?
The story with Sylvester, how Sylvester McCoy became an actor. It's bonkers. But yeah, that's showbiz for you.
I guess so.
And he gets to be a clown a bit for this episode. Of course, a lot of people didn't like that the Seventh Doctor was being so clownish, which led to his dramatic character change in the next season. And we talked about enough about how I don't like that character change with the Seventh Doctor. I like the Seventh Doctor playing spoons. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, it reminds you of the Second Doctor a lot, actually. I always thought, whatever. I thought the Second Doctor was considered the clownish Doctor, so.
Yes, and, well.
There you go.
People be people. I guess different audience, different times. We're comparing 60s to 80s.
80s were a hell of a time.
Hey, it's a great thing I missed.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a really cool moment in here. After he defeats the gods of Ragnarok, the only way the Doctor can defeat gods by talking them to death. And it's just talking to them, confusing them to the point where they argue with themselves in their heads, and he confuses them to death and walks away before anything happens. He doesn't run, he just casually walks around with his umbrella as a walking cane. And there's a really cool shot of him exiting the big top.
Yeah.
He's just casually walking, boom! There's an explosion behind him. It really falls into that cliche of cool guys don't look at explosions.
That's right.
Yeah. And of course, it also introduces a werewolf character, which comes back later in Big Finish as a companion. There's some really cool stuff in this episode. There's a reason I named this whole show after this episode, not just because it's a cool sounding concept.
Yep.
I really like a lot of the elements from this episode. I think I still have the Ringmaster's rap. Let me see if I can find it. It's a really cool thing. There it is. I'm just gonna play the rap. Hopefully, again, we don't get copyright for this, but it's a really cool rap that the Ringmaster in Greatest Show in the Galaxy does.
Okay.
Throughout the show. Hold on, it's processing.
Yep.
I should have thought of it before, but I wasn't really sure if I still had that clip.
Live on tape here, guys. Live on tape.
Live on tape.
Where we almost go. Okay, here we go.
Now welcome, folks. I mean it from the heart, because the greatest show is about to start. It's happening right here before your very eyes, and one thing's for sure, you're in for quite a surprise. But then nothing's quite as it seems to be at the greatest show in the galaxy. Now welcome, folks. We got a brand new act. He's a real fine, and no doubt that's a fact. He'll entertain you. He'll make you stare. And our great new act is seated over there.
Thank thank you, but
Come on, Doctor, don't be shy.
well, I'm not really sure that I should.
Oh, no false modesty. We know you're good.
Well, this is most unexpected. Are you sure you want me?
Oh, there's no mistake, Doc. Come on in. Feel free.
Don't go, Professor. What harm would it do?
Exactly. But the decision's up to you.
No, Doctor!
I did not realize that clip was that long.
It's pretty long.
Yeah, I thought it was just the rap. I had no idea it was the whole thing. But yeah, if we do get copyrighted about this, so the ringmaster just shows up in raps.
Yeah, it's a 1980s rap for sure. A 1980s British television rap.
Yeah, he's riffing, improvising, but still somehow manages to match whatever the doctor is saying and manages to rhyme to what he says. And he gets the doctor to come onto the stage. And Ace tells him not to, but he then later he still goes despite that. And of course, later that's where he transitions into his act.
Mm-hmm.
And there we go. We talked about what we saw in the clip, so we can't get copyrighted. If we do, I can dispute it. Yeah. This is how YouTube works, people. Learn the rules. And now we move on to the final season finale for the classic series, which was ironically named Survival.
Yeah.
Something that the show tried to do, yet failed. So yeah, alien cats show up on Earth and start stealing people to the planet of the cheetah people, where the cheetah people then hunt and kill them, and those little black cats are like vultures eating the leftovers. And if you get too aggressive and start to fight back, you become one of the cheetah people yourself.
Right.
And the more aggressive you become, the more aggressive the planet gets. So the angrier you get, the closer the planet gets to destruction. And even the master sort of becomes a half cat.
Not sort of. He does, doesn't he? I thought he was.
Yeah, he's a half cat. And Ace says it to him when they meet back up again in Power of the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Which, one thing I want to bring up here is that she says to him, last time when I saw you, you were half cat. If my memory isn't betraying me as they usually tend to do, this was legitimately the last time they met. Of course, I mean, the show ended after this, but on Big Finish, they didn't interact much. There was a master story with the Seventh Doctor and Ace, but I don't think the Master and Ace actually met.
Wow.
In it. I mean, the Doctor and the Master did, but not Ace. Again, it's not one of my favorite episodes, so I haven't listened to it in a while. But I think they didn't meet. They didn't meet during the Time War. I don't think the Master and Ace met again since this episode. There might be some stuff in the books or the comics that I'm not aware of, but on it, at least, that's pretty consistent. So
there you
go. But this is one of the ones that you actually did see. So what did you think?
I wasn't a huge fan of it. Now it starts off in Ace's hometown and stuff like that. Is that like Ace's friends are the cheetahs?
Perryville.
Right.
Perryville.
Yeah, and everyone's disappearing and stuff like that. And I don't know. I can't remember if they're the hunters or they're being hunted. But I do remember that the master with cat's eyes and stuff like that. So I'll never forget that. Oh yeah, and the teeth too. Yeah, it's unfortunate that this was the final episode of Doctor Who for quite some time.
Yeah, it's
not a great serial. I didn't think so, anyways.
It's not a high note to end this iconic series on.
No, but
go ahead.
I was gonna say, but just had to wait a few years, and they started to get it right again.
I mean, it's a bit more than a few years. It's a decade and a half.
Yeah, it's only whatever.
Like some of the diehard who've been watching
15 years or whatever.
Yeah, 16 years.
16.
But some of the diehards who watched the show from episode 1, kind of wasn't around by the time the show came back. So it's a pretty serious thing. 16, having to wait 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
The
Well,
longest-
you got the TV movie in there.
Yeah, I mean, and you got the books, and you know what? You wait 10 years after this, you get Big Finish as well. But
Yep.
still, you know, there's nothing quite like having the show proper on TV.
That's
And
true.
well, you know what? Having to wait 16 years for the Christopher Eccleston stuff was well worth the wait.
Agree.
But that is the story for another time.
Ooh.
The one major thing I want to say that came out of this episode is, of course, this.
Louise! Stay still! Will you stay still? You idiots! I don't know how many times I gotta tell you not to move! You moved! You moved! Thank you! Wonderful.
Sylvester McCoy improvising at its best.
I love it. They should have kept it in.
Yeah, I mean, when he made the F-bomb, they probably couldn't have done it. That's why it's an outtake, but it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So, yeah. By the way, I'm not sure what you remember from this episode, but at the very end, there's this blonde woman walking around talking to the doctor and Ace. Then she walks off. Now, some people have made a fan theory that that woman is Jackie Tyler.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because, I mean, she dresses like her. She styles her hair like her. Age-wise, from 89 to
Go another
2005,
16 years.
sort of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's never been confirmed.
I think it's a fun fan theory. Why not? If they didn't give the lady a name, then why not make it?
Yeah,
So.
I mean, they didn't name her, I think. Not that I remember.
All right.
But, yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like
And,
that.
Yeah, so I think that's it. Speaking of Jackie Tyler, we get to talk about the modern series season finales next week, but that is a story for another time. Probably should have done it for this one, but whatever. So yeah, Snark. Anything stands out to you from the season finale we talked about today? Obviously the third Doctor ones, but
Yeah, love the third Doctor ones. I know you're a big fan of some more of these. Tom Baker ones. Maybe I'll take a look back at some of those. And I really got to watch the Trial of the Time Lords, the whole thing. I know that you've been talking about that for quite a while, so I'll get on it. Maybe that's what I'll take from this is like just watch the entire Trial of the Time Lord series.
I mean, the Time Lord, the Trial of the Time Lord isn't like bombastic, great, must-watch like the Torchwood.
Don't sell it too much. Don't sell it too much.
Wait. Let me finish. It's not like a must-watch like the best Doctor Who writing of all time. It's not like the Children of Earth Torchwood thing. But it's really good. It's good. It was a really good attempt. I appreciate what they did. I mean, they spent the the opening shot is like the most expensive shot ever in Doctor Who up until that point before
Really?
the Marvel series, of course. And you'll see why when you watch it. It's like entirely CGI. It's like a really good establishing shot. There's a really good lore in Trial of a Time Lord. I love the character of the Inquisitor, which shows up in the Big Finish thing later as the character Darkel. But yeah, so like, it's not. Don't expect Stephen Moffat level writing. It's good. It's really good, but just it's not the best. But it's still good. It's very good, worth the watch.
It has to be the longest continual series, though. If there's 14 episodes, all connected together at the same time, all part of one big story, it has to be the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's send it just for that.
Cool. Now, Mr. Snark, where can the good people of the interwebs find you?
Find me over at Let's Get Ready Network. Let's Get Ready Network, the highlights. I'll be talking my show starting 11 that airs Tuesdays, talking the English Premier League. That's European football for everybody. Americans call it soccer. So do some Canadians. But we'll be talking about
I call it real football, but that's just me.
There you go. That is, we'll be we just wrap up what happened on the weekend in the English Premier League. We talk about the matches. We predict matches going forward. Over on the Entertainment Network for Let's Get Ready Network, we've been covering Loki season 2. We'll be talking about its fifth episode this week, and leading up to the finale for that. But also, the Rewatchers Council has begun. That's our episode by episode rewatch of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer show. That airs Wednesdays on Let's Get Ready Network. There's myself, there's Adelia and Ferris, but we'll be having plenty of people come on and join us whenever they feel like talking Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And it's a show I've been excited to do for a while, and I'm so glad that we've actually started it.
Cool. And you can find me every Monday talking about this show, the greatest show in the galaxy, the Doctor, talking about Doctor Who, and every Thursday on Fun with Flags with my good buddy Soda, where we teach each other about each other's countries. And you can also find me talking even more Doctor Who on my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way to 2022. You could watch my review for the War Games, or rather, you could have done if the stupid BBC hadn't blocked it.
Bastards.
So hopefully, by the time this goes live, my dispute worked, and they removed the blockage of that episode. If not, I uploaded a special video specifically about the 240 plus people still being held captive by Hamas in the Gaza Strip right now. So go ahead and check that one out and support the families of the kidnapped and the hostages. It will really mean the world to them and myself as well. But you can also check out all the other wonderful channels from the wider Benverse at large, like Something to Talk About, Galaxy Geeks, Multiverse of Geekdom, Movie Lovers Unite, The Midnight Cinema, 8-Time Reviews, So Dig in Wrestling, and In the Front Row, both of which are not featured on this thumbnail still, but, well, maybe someday. Maybe someday. So, always remember, wrong show to bring that one up. That's Fun with Flags, my bad. But, so thank you all for watching. If you have, we'll see you next week to talk about the modern series season finales. And until then, in the words of Missy herself,
don't forget to like and subscribe.
Goodbye.